I have this fun story that I'm excited to share. About 6 months ago, a buddy tagged me in a social media post that Circuit of the Americas was looking for very specific years and models of old convertible American muscle cars to chauffeur Formula One drivers in their parade just before the race. In fact, the very first line said, 1969 Chevy Camaro. So I put together an album of my favorite photos that I've taken over the 9+ years that I've had the old car, and I sent it over. And as these things go, I didn't really hear back for a few months. But then an email popped up that I was in the top 30 applicants, so I think this is a good spot to mention that I've been prepping to sell a car, and my buddy Thayne and I have been upgrading a bunch of parts, replacing all the gaskets, and working on so much more that the car was currently halfway back together and the F1 race was just a few weeks away. There's nothing really like a deadline to potentially drive your car in front of over 400,000 people to finish up a project. Sure enough, my car was selected, and on Sunday, October 22nd, we will be parading around a team of F1 drivers. About a week beforehand, the car was still not quite running correctly, so Thayne enlisted some of his mechanic buddies, and about 2 days beforehand, thankfully, the car was running better than ever. Christine and I actually didn't know which drivers we would be paired with, as Formula One selects them the morning of the race. We drove the Camaro out to the track, and right as we pulled in, our contact goes, "Orange, Camaro, McLaren." Being paired with the McLaren F1 team was an amazing honor, and it just made sense. The orange shades of my car and the signature look of McLaren went perfectly together. I have to admit that it was pretty cool to pull up to the starting line on the racetrack, and the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders were on one side and the grandstands on the other. I was trying to play it cool, but I couldn't help but give a large smile. Then Lando Norris and his teammate Oscar settled onto the back of the car, and it was go time. The chorus of "Lando, Lando, Lando" from hundreds of thousands of fans was just an amazing amount of love for the racers. But for me and the other lucky ones with our old cars driving around the track, it felt like an ode to every vintage car lover. Every nod and cheer felt like a salute to the tales that these old cars could tell. And I couldn't help but reminisce, as this was a perfect send-off for a car I've had for almost a decade. It was there for my first real date with the woman who would become my wife, dinner at Clark's, her hesitance and excitement at the offer to drive, and the endless drives we took during the quiet moments of the pandemic. Those drives with the Texas landscape stretching before us and George Strait's voice filling the air via this old worn-out cassette tape, they're forever etched in my memory. The Camaro has been there for so many moments, from being single and living in a downtown condo to riding in the back of our wedding send-off. This car wasn't just a vehicle, it was a silent witness to our story. As I think about parting with the car, it's moments like these that'll stick with me. I'll also think of new adventures ahead, but that Sunday, with the roar of the crowd and the purr of the engine, was a strong reminder of the roads traveled and of the chapters that, while closing, will never truly end.